What's up YouTube? Welcome back to WackedOutEcig. I told you it was coming, and here we are. It's the updated version of the Goblin by UD. Alright guys, so this is the box that the UD Goblin comes in. It's a very simple box, nothing special to see here. Some information about UD and scratch and check thing for your authenticity. So opening up the box, you have the actual device there, and it says Goblin, and then this opens up and you get some information. It's 46mm in height, copper pin contact, 7mm by 3mm large air hole and drip tip, huge cloud, glass tank, health friendly, 304 food grade stainless steel, and leakage proof. I don't think they should have put leakage proof on there, but whatever. They're allowed to say whatever they want. And then note, the spare kits and manual had been placed behind the gift box. So I didn't know this at first, and I actually didn't read that, but all the extra stuff that you want is gonna be right here. So you have a quick user manual there, and then the extra stuff here. So you get a replacement glass tank, and it's actually not just a replacement, but it's larger than the original one that comes with it, and this is why it's the version 1.2 or the upgraded version. In this little bag you have the bigger chimney as well to go with this glass. You get a little bit of silica, I guess, some extra O-rings, and some extra screws. So be careful, you don't want to lose all this stuff. There's also some kanthal in there if you so desire to use it. But we'll just pop that back in there for now. So you get this ribbon thing to take out your Goblin, and we can put the box aside for now. This is your Goblin. You can see the Goblin logo there, the 7mm by 3mm airflow holes, copper contact on the bottom. I guess that's a serial number as well. And now you can open the tank up there. It doesn't come with a drip tip, so just beware of that. You're gonna need to use your own drip tip. So it's pretty simple to open. You just unscrew it. There's the top part. There's an O-ring that holds the glass in place there and seals it off. Then you get the glass. This is the chimney. It's a two-part chimney, so the top can come off like that. I just dropped it. No worries. You have I have a build in there, so the coils, and then you have the bottom part of the chimney, and this is covered in liquid, so my hands are very messy. Now this looks pretty horrible right now, and it's kind of burnt up, but I just made this yesterday, so I'm not gonna rebuild this, but I'll see if you can see that. You have just regular Phillips head screws, and I find they've been working very well tightening down the screws. It's a 4-hole design, so it's easier to do those dual coils. And underneath there, I'll use a bit of kanthal to point it out. Underneath there you have the airflow holes, so the air goes through your airflow holes up through there and under the coil. That's how it works. Then you have some really large juice channels there on each side. So I'm not gonna rebuild this or re-wick it, just because it is pretty difficult to get a good build on here, and I have got a good one that's working for me. So that's how it's gonna go, guys. I'm not gonna rebuild this for you, but if you can see, I only have a little bit of cotton in the juice channels. That's just because they're so large that if I don't personally put anything in there, it does leak and it can flood. And then the rest of the cotton, I just brush it upwards and stick it up so that the chimney can fit around it and not have that much of a problem. Also the build deck does not come out of the base. So just putting the cap back on. And I don't know why, but I always have trouble getting this chimney back on. It's always hard to catch the threads, but that may be just me and not any problem with the device, so can't count that as a con. What I will say is, with this top part of the chimney going in, and you can see that the top of the post screws are pretty high, you don't want to build your coils too high, because this may stop it and it will create a short and just not connect. So you want to pull your coils closer down to the airflow hole underneath, just so you're not touching anything. With that screwed on, now the glass does not screw in at all, it's just press fit into that O-ring, so that is something to note. If that's not in properly and not sealed, it will leak and it will get everywhere. So I haven't had that problem, but if your O-ring or something goes bad, you may want to use one of the replacement O-rings. And then the top of this cap just threads into the top of the chimney. And there you have your Goblin. I'll show you the airflow control. It's very simple to navigate, but it's not difficult. It's not too tight and it's not too loose. It's just a nice kind of easy thing. Let me dry this up a bit. Okay, yeah, so it's pretty easy. One con I do have about this is that looks pretty lined up, and that's an open airflow hole. So you would assume that on the other side it would be fully open as well. But you can see there's a bit of a closed off gap there. So if I want to close this off, then it sticks out a bit there. So I think that may be quality control problems that they just need to work out, but there is a certain point where it works pretty much exactly right, and that's about there. So you can see both sides are pretty much fully open, so it's not that big of a deal, and there's so much airflow that I don't notice it when it's happening anyway. So one thing that can be considered a con about this device is that the only way to fill it is using this bottom screw, and it does come with this screw. I didn't show it, but it comes in the back with all the other replacement stuff. So you're just going to want to unscrew that. And there you have a decent size hole that you can fill with. I'm going to fill it today with this toucan loops from Dr. Fogg's e-liquid. It's a max VG, so the max VG does wick very well in this. And one problem I used to have with other rebuildable tanks was the fact that liquid would get everywhere when I would try and fill it. But at least for these dropper caps, they fit quite well, and they get the liquid in there with little to no spillage. But most of the time there always is just a little bit, which you can just clean up. It's not like you're dumping liquid everywhere. Sorry, my thumb was blocking that, but you can see that it's filling up nicely That should be about fine. I'm not measuring it, but I'll just clean this up a bit. And now, one thing to note is that if you do overfill it, you're not looking or not paying attention properly. If you do overfill it, it will just create too much pressure and send e-liquid right out the top. So be careful of that. It's happened a few times. Also, if you don't wick it properly, that will happen even if you don't overfill it. So that can be a problem. And there you have it, a filled up Goblin V1.2. The drip tip I've been using is just my drip tip from the Stingray X, and I find it just looks fantastic in there. It fits well. Most drip tips that I've used have fit pretty much perfectly in there. And now we can go back out and vape on it. So that was an up close look at the Goblin by UD. I know I said the sub-tank mini was my favorite tank, and it was, but since I got this and I've managed to wick it properly, this has become my new favorite tank. And you can blame me all you want for saying everything is my new favorite tank, but the fact of the matter is that the vaping industry is moving so quickly that new things are coming out all the time, and your favorites can be replaced every month. So either way, this is my new favorite tank, and I don't have much bad things to say about it. Now that was an abnormally long hit or drag off of this Goblin, but I just wanted to show you that I can do that without getting any dry hits, get a lot of vapor, and still a lot of flavor. This is what it would look like on a regular hit that I would take out of it. And it's still incredible. I have this at 0.4 ohms with 8 wraps of 26 gauge, and I'm running it at 35 watts. So I'm not running it too hot. I like it around 35 watts. It's warm enough to give me the flavor that I'm looking for, but it's not too much power that it's using too much battery life. So with this iStick 50 watt, I can still get a day and a half, maybe 2 days out of this, using it pretty much constantly at 35 watts with 0.4 ohm coil, which is pretty outstanding, but that's due to the iStick 50 watt. But that's why I've been using this combination. The two of these is just a spectacular vape. It's not too expensive. I paid about $50 after tax for this Goblin, and I didn't pay for the iStick 50 watt. It got sent to me to review, but generally these cost about, I want to say, 70 to 80 Canadian, which is, the combination of the two is not bad considering you don't have to pay to buy new coils all the time. You're building them yourself, which is a great cost-effective way to look at it. Obviously, this is not for the type of vapor that doesn't know how to build at all, because it's only a rebuildable. It's also not for the type of vapor that kind of knows how to build but gets frustrated easily by slight things that are wrong with it. You really need to enjoy building, enjoy trying out different wicking techniques and tinkering to get your perfect vape. But once you have the wicking down, this is the best vape I've ever had. Now the flavor is definitely comparable to a dripper. I don't want to say it's better, but personally I think it's on par. These airflow holes are huge, and it doesn't mute the flavor by having too much air, which is surprising, but I'm not complaining. A con I can find about it is that the airflow holes don't line up perfectly, the control part of it, but you know, it's not that much of a problem. I guess if you're really precise about where your airflow holes are, I guess it'll be a problem, but for me I don't mind. The fact that it doesn't come with a drip tip not that big of a deal for me either, because most rebuildable tanks don't come with a drip tip. You have to have your own, and most people have their own drip tips. Filling it from the bottom by unscrewing that screw and having to stick something into it to fill it, yes, that's a con in my opinion. I can't think of any good things to say about that, but I'm used to it by now. I mean, again, it's something that I'm used to, that everyone who's used rebuildable tank atomizers are used to, so it's not like a shocking thing like, oh, why did you do that? You know, we're used to it now. But I'm hoping now with the technology that's available to us to have top fill methods, that maybe UD will come out with a tank that is top fill. The small deck that's in it can be considered a con to some, but I guess that's subjective. Personally, I don't have any problems with it. It's easy enough to build on. I haven't had any problems trying to get my coils on there or centering them. But wicking, that is the problem. But I don't think that's a con either. I mean, it's not the device's fault that you're not wicking it properly. So as long as you play around with it and get your perfect build, you're not going to have any problems with this. When I first tried it out and I was first getting used to it, I thought it was working nicely and it wasn't leaking or getting dry hits, but then I would pop it in my pocket, walk around for a bit, and when I take it out there'd be juice everywhere. So that's something to note. If you don't get the wicking properly, it will leak everywhere and you will get dry hits, and you may think that this is the worst tank ever, but please don't think that. Honestly, it's all to do with the wicking. If you like tanks like the K-Fun, for example, that don't have much airflow, I'm not sure if you will like this because there is so much airflow in this. I'll show you what it's like with the airflow cut off about halfway or a bit more than halfway. So you would think that I would be able to do a mouth to lung hit with this, which means that I'll just be smoking it kind of like a cigarette. It'll go into my mouth and then into my lungs. Still way too airy. And for a lung hit, honestly, it kind of mimics my Orchid V4 with it closed off about halfway. Which is not bad, but I'm so used to having the massive airflow with this wide open that that's what I'm used to now and that's what I'm enjoying. One con I do have about this is I find it kind of difficult to adjust the airflow once the tank is on the device, so I just take it off to adjust it. That's not that big of a deal because once you do have it set, you're not really going to be moving it around, you know, so it's fine. It wicks very well with max VG. I'd say about 80 VG is the highest that I've tried it. I will try 90 VG and see how it goes, but honestly, as long as you wick it properly, you can get anything to wick well in it. If you put enough cotton, you can put 100% VG in here and not have it leak, you know? So it's all about the wicking, it's all about how you build it and how you use it. So honestly, I can't say anything too bad about it because the quality of vape that you get from it is depending on who is using it and how they're using it. One more con that I forgot to mention, sorry about that, but you've probably realized it already. With the airflow fully open, this is a very loud device. Just listen. Now that is drawing it pretty vigorously, but this is how it is even if you're taking a more relaxed vape. It's pretty loud, and I thought that was something to note. The only cons I can say about the device right out of the box is, I've mentioned them already, but one more is the fact that out of the box it's kind of dirty. There's a lot of machine oil on it, and there's bits of metal, I guess, in the airflow holes and stuff like that just from machining. But where I got this, at ecigarettes.ca, just past the Yonge and Eglinton station in Toronto, they had an ultrasonic cleaner, and when I bought it, I just opened it up, put it into the ultrasonic cleaner, cleaned it for a couple minutes, and it was good to go. So I will recommend that once you do get this, if you do buy it, clean it thoroughly before you use it, because you don't want to be tasting machine oil or vaping little pieces of metal. So that's about all that I can say about this Goblin for now. If you're interested, the link will be in the description for ecigarettes.ca to get this. It's going to be around $50. And they do ship Canada-wide. I'm not sure if they ship outside of Canada, but a lot of places have this now. So I recommend it. I think it's definitely a really good vape that you should try out. If you're into building, if you like tinkering with things, you're really going to enjoy this. So real quick before I leave, I want to show you something really cool that I just figured out how to do. I don't care if you don't care, I'm going to do it anyway because I just learned how, and I'm going to be using my middle finger for this, so please don't be offended. I can do that. I just wanted to say that, and I will have some tutorials of blowing O's and doing different tricks for you guys coming in the near future, so look out for that. If you like the video, please give the video a like. If you want to see more videos, please subscribe to the channel. If you want other people to know about the videos and know about the channel, please give it a share on anywhere that you can. Head over to WackedOutEcig, leave me a comment, and enjoy. I'll see you again soon.